السلام عليكم جميعا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, in the chapter of Al-Baqarah, that's chapter 2, verse 163, He says, وَإِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ, that your Lord is one, your God is one. لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ, that there is no God but He. الرحمن الرحيم, the all-merciful, the all-beneficent. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon our Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and may Allah's eternal damnation be upon the enemies of the Prophet and his infallible progeny. Today, inshaAllah, we want to continue with this lecture series. Our goal today really is to look at several things that we've left unanswered, kind of checking things off as we're going along in this journey, which will help us, inshaAllah, realize the value of what we have, this intellect. For if I truly realize the value, then I will believe in it, I will commit to it, and inshaAllah, it will take me towards that ultimate goal of success and, somebody say it, happiness. We said that the purpose of this intellect is to allow us to reach this happiness. How? By determining what are the things that I need in order to use towards this ultimate goal. Realizing this purpose by using these tools that are available to me. Whether it's realizing the value of the car, or realizing the value of an education, or realizing the value of a bicycle, or realizing the value of a clean home, that these are all things that once I recognize their value, what will I do? I will believe in the fact that they have a true role in my life in allowing me to reach a state of happiness, and therefore I'll be committed to maintaining them. So I'll do an oil change and a lube and a filter, right? I'll constantly be in a state of cleaning my house, to make sure that it's clean, okay, for my kids, for myself, for my family. I'll make sure that I study and I don't procrastinate and cram before an exam, right? So that I can always be in a state of what? Having the correct information so that my exams are easier. If I realize the value of such things, then surely, through my belief in them, I'll be able to commit myself to them, and therefore I will reach this happiness. Now, order of business today. A couple of things. The first is evolution. What's our stand on evolution? What's the intellectual stand on evolution? Right, Brother Hajji Hassani? Let's tackle this today. Everybody ready? I'm about to take you on a ride. Evolution is based on the premise that this world came out of a coincidence. But see, what's interesting is that we proved that coincidence does not exist. Correct? Evolution makes claims. Some are founded and some are unfounded. We have no problem intellectually in understanding the idea of survival of the fittest. Right? We see it in front of us. It's an intellectual necessity that that would be the case. That the smartest, the fastest, the strongest would survive and the weakest would die off, right? The next thing we look at here, then, is what's the next claim that they make? The next claim that they make is what? That this world came out of coincidence. We mentioned that, dealt with it, been there, done that. Not going to handle that again because we spoke about the Big Bang Theory, right? And in the Big Bang Theory, we proved that the Big Bang had to have somebody to create that bang in the first place, right? So we said, since the Big Bang is created, it's newly occurring. We said everything that is newly occurring is created, right? And we proved that everything that is created has a creator. It was very simple, right? The next claim that they make is probably the claim that we have the most contention with, the one that we have problems with. And that's that man came from an ape. This one we have a problem with. We don't have a problem with the Big Bang. We don't have a problem with the dinosaurs. We don't have a problem with the saber-toothed tigers. We don't have a problem with the Jurassic Age. We don't have a problem with the Ice Age. We don't have a problem with any of that stuff. But what we do have a problem with is this claim that man came from ape. Now, they claim that they base the idea of evolution on pure empirical formula and scientific methodology. Isn't that what they claim? Right? They say science says so-and-so. And so, in our schools, we learn this information where? In which class? In biology class, yeah. So in a science class. What's interesting, though, is that if you go to college, evolution isn't actually taught if you're a science major. It's taught if you're an anthropology major, right? So it's actually an anthropology class. Now, what's interesting about this anthropological theory is what? Is the fact that it claims that man came from ape. In order for them to prove this, they need to prove something. Something that is missing. That thing they call the missing link. Today we'll deal with the missing link in this false claim. Because if they can find that missing link, then they will be able to connect between the ape and the Homo sapien, being the human. Okay? The claim is that Lucy is the missing link. Not your neighbor's dog. Not your friend in high school. Lucy is drawn to be, in the diagrams that we see, in the illustrations, to be this kind of erect, standing straight, cross between an ape and a human. Now, in order for us scientists to make such a claim, we would need what? We would need proof, because we are scientists and we depend on empirical methodology to prove our points. There has to be evidence. So, the claim they make is that they have the evidence. What is the evidence? Is it a leg bone, a thigh bone, a foot bone, a cranium, an entire cranium? No, it's part of a jaw. It's about this much. It's a lower jaw, about this much of it. What's interesting is that from that portion of the jaw, they were able to recreate the full jaw. And then the top jaw, and then the eye sockets, and then the size of the cranium, and then the neck, and then the shape of the chest, the bones of the chest, the rib cage. And, of course, from this little jaw, they were able to also recreate the shape of the spine, it being erect. And from that same little jaw piece, they were able to recreate the ilium, this bone here, our pelvic bone. And from that, they were able to determine the length of the femur and the humerus, the top part of the leg and the bottom part of the leg. They were even able to determine the foot size. Amazing. From what? From a jawbone. Now, how did they come to this exact information? They had this anthropologist give the lower mandible, this portion, the small portion of the lower mandible, this part of the jaw, to a sculptor. And the sculptor would do what? Basically an artist, right? Would do what? Would basically sculpt a three-dimensional image, okay, three-dimensional recreation of what they thought it would actually look like. In the meantime, the anthropologist is sitting over the shoulder or leaning over the shoulder of the artist, saying, no, 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 make the ear a little bigger. No, no, the tongue should be sticking out. No, the nose should be pointier, right? No, this should be this way. No, give her a little hair on the upper lip, okay? Little hair out of the ears too. Okay. Ah, yes. Pièce de résistance. How beautiful a creation. Then what do? They say, well, what about the body? Now let's go to an illustrator. They sit next to an illustrator or an artist that is a specialist in 3D. And by the way, I'm not making any of this up, okay? This is exactly what they do. And you can go on TV and you can do your research and you can read the books and you'll actually see photos of them sitting next to the artist as he does the rendition. Okay? So, what does he do? He sits next to this animator, this 3D CG artist, or this illustrator in those days before, we had the 3D CG capabilities. And they would actually say, yes, taller, shorter, broader shoulders, arms should be short, hands should be pointing forward, place the hairs here, the leg size should be this way, the thickness of the thigh should be this way, all based on conjecture. Just opinion. How can you get the size of a creation's muscle based on what their jaw looked like? Okay, I understand I can complete the lower jaw and perhaps the upper jaw. Okay? And perhaps maybe a bit of the eye sockets wider. Okay? But how can I get the shape of the nose? How can I get the size of the cranium? Well, let's say the head, sure, no problem. But what about the spine and the shape of the spine? What about the length of the arms? What about the muscles and the tendons and the veins? Where did you get all that? Well, it was a purely scientific process. A scientist stood next to an artist and told him to draw what he wills. And so, Lucy came to be. Isn't that interesting? And this now is what is sold to us as being scientific fact. As though we're supposed to accept this false claim that is based on what? A little jawbone and an artist's rendition. Conjecture. Where's the science in that? There's no science in that. Now, if they were to take a little bit of DNA and maybe try to clone somehow, and then they'd get a creature that looked that way, then we can say, well, they made a scientific breakthrough. Okay. Anthropologists themselves, if you do the research, actually prove the fact, this came a little later on, prove the fact that they themselves point the finger at themselves and say, this was purely unscientific. So if they say it was unscientific, then who are we to disagree? Right? Again, no problem with survival of the fittest. No problem with Big Bang. No problem with the dinosaurs and the mammoths and anything else like that. But there is a problem with Lucy. And because there is a problem with Lucy, they're unable to tie between the ape and the human being. Once they do, we'll talk then. Until they do, we'll talk then. If they make claims, then what do we have to do? Do we just accept, or do we use our intellects to question? Do we use our intellects to research? Right? Anthropologists have proven that Neanderthals existed at the same time as Homo sapiens in caves in France, in Nice. Okay? Before, their claims were that humans didn't exist in the time of Neanderthals. And then they changed their minds. Okay? Originally, they believed that Neanderthals were a different species. They weren't even human. Later on, some anthropologists said that they might have been humans, but they were suffering from a disease called giganticism, which exists today. Cro-Magnon. You see, for example, a famous wrestler I remember in the 80s called Andre the Giant, right? He had the Cro-Magnon look, the big brows, and that's because there was an excess growth hormone that his endocrine system was producing. And this growth hormone causes his hands to be huge, his bone structure to be huge. It caused him not to be able to even carry the weight of his own head. Okay? So he was humped like this. And we see people who suffer from giganticism today. It's a medical condition. Okay? But let's say they are another species. Well, first they made a claim that they didn't exist at the same time as Homo sapiens, that Homo sapiens came later, and then they changed their mind, and now they're changing their mind again, right? First they said that, Lucy didn't exist, now they found Lucy, now they're questioning Lucy and the jawbone, anthropologists themselves. They're saying, hang on, this was a type of ape that existed before, okay? And they have the entire bone structure of that little primate, okay? That they claim is Lucy, the missing link. Other anthropologists say, no, the bone structure matches that type of primate. So, what do I go on? Conjecture? Do I go on the knowledge of people who are trying to find knowledge and unsure and making claims that are baseless, that are based on illustration? Well, I think it looks like this. I think, give it a longer term. I remember one show that I was watching on TV, on National Geographic. They found a part of some sort of coyote's tooth, the canines of their head. And from those canines, okay, they were able to figure out the jaw. They were able to figure out the size of the head. Okay? And as he was sitting there with the CG guy, the animator, he said to him, okay, no, to hold that type of tooth, his head needs to be bigger. That's understandable. I understand that. Okay? His eye sockets need to be this way because you can compare it to modern animals today, right? That's understandable. Okay, his neck needs to be able to hold the weight of his head, so that's understandable. I understand that. Okay? But his tail should be short. His hind legs should be this thick. His paws should be shaped this way. Give him talons, really big talons. Okay? And he was making it up. And he said, well, I kind of like, I'm kind of guessing and guesstimating about how it would look and where it would look. And okay, what about the color? Oh, well, I thought that it would be nice to, have it as a cross between a coyote and a possum. How about the fur on its face? Maybe it had no fur on its face. No, let's give it a little extra fur, a few whiskers here and there. Whiskers, I understand. But see, the process is completely unscientific. And that's what anthropologists themselves admit to. So that's evolution. Okay? Until you find the missing link for me, okay, then we'll talk. Then we'll talk. Is that fair enough? No problem with survival of the fittest. No problem with anything else that they claim. No problem with the Big Bang. You guys are confused about how Big Bang came along. We proved that Big Bang had to be created, so there must be a creator. Fair enough. Okay? Now, the next thing we need to look at, that's checked off. Everybody comfortable with that? And if you're not, approach me after. Okay? Or write a question, inshallah, I'll answer it. The next thing that we need to look at, now that we've covered our basis with the issues of scientific data and how to answer that stuff, and again, intellectual process, nothing new, haven't taken any verses from the Quran, nothing else like that. Haven't pulled any rabbits out of my hat, okay? I don't even wear, well, I wear an arakchin, but not one of those top hats. Can't fit a rabbit in there, okay? The next thing we look at is based on all of this knowledge that we've found. Do you see value in what we've done so far? Do you see value in being able to answer the questions that you had before, that I had before, just with simple logical reasoning? Do you see the value? Yes or no? Yes? No? With a loud salawat, a yes. With a small salawat, a no. Okay, good. So we see the value. That's good. The next thing we want to look at, now that we've determined all of this, we go back to the issue of the Creator. We proved that He exists, right? Because we said to every organized system, okay, there has to be a creator of that organization. We said the world is organized, therefore the world has a creator of its organization. We said that the Big Bang is created, and therefore it had to be created by the ultimate creator that was outside of that system, that is unlimited by that system. So that tells us then that because we are a limited system, then our creator has to be unlimited. Hang on, our creator is unlimited? What does that mean? Unlimited versus limited. If something is limited, it has parameters, it is confined to a space. Confined to a space. Can something that is unlimited be confined to a space? To anything? No. If we say unlimited, is there another synonym, another word we can use for unlimited? Limited is finite, right? Unlimited is infinite. Can something that is infinite be contained? No. Okay. So as a human, I'm limited, right? As a human, I'm finite. Okay? My creator is unlimited. That means that my creator is infinite. Fair enough? So now, if something is unlimited, that means it's infinite. Well, if the creator is unlimited and the unlimited is infinite, then the creator is infinite. Minor premise, major premise, conclusion. Got it? Got it? Yeah? You want us to make the sound? Should I repeat that again? Okay. If you just take that today, and really think about that, any question that you face, whether you're speaking with an atheist, or you're speaking with a Christian, or you're speaking with our Jewish brothers, or you're speaking with any other person, such as a scientist or an anthropologist, if you are able to say those 3 lines, then you are liberated. You are liberated. Because this sort of information, if we understand it truly, if we say the unlimited is what? Is infinite. My creator, the creator of this universe, is what? Is unlimited. The unlimited is what? Infinite. Let's take that part. The creator, right, is what? Is unlimited. The unlimited is infinite. X out those two, they cancel each other, right? Unlimited and unlimited. Let's take the creator. Let's take, you ready for this? Let's take infinite. Let's drag them, and therefore the creator is infinite. This has many implications. Amazing implications. Why? Because it makes me understand then that no matter what my problems are, whether mathematical or otherwise, okay? If I don't have the answer, then the unlimited has the answer. Does that make sense? Everything that is limited does not have the answers. Everything. Why? That's the nature of limitation. Because everything that is limited is deficient, right? Everything that is limited is deficient. Man is limited. Everything that is limited is deficient. Therefore, man is deficient. Make sense? The Creator is what? Is unlimited. Right? Everything that is unlimited is what? Which means that it's indeficient. Right? If it's unlimited, it's indeficient. Therefore, the Creator is indeficient. Everything that is limited has flaws. Make sense? Everything that is limited has flaws. Man is limited. Everything that is limited has flaws. Therefore, man is flawed. Make sense? What about those things that are unlimited? Things that are unlimited are what? Do they have flaws? Because we just said they're indeficient, right? So then that tells us what then? That if the Creator is unlimited and everything that is unlimited is unflawed, then the Creator is unflawed. Therefore, He has all the answers. You get it? That is a primary characteristic of the Creator. Every other characteristic that this Creator has, this is the reference point for it. That's the reference point for it. Can I get a salawat ala Muhammad wa Muhammad? Can I get a second salawat? Can I get a third salawat? What does that tell us then? That tells us then that if I want information, I need to look towards what? As a limited being, towards the unlimited, the Creator. My answers will be where? With the unlimited, the Creator. We need to give him a mic. Okay? But the question is, how do I communicate with the unlimited if I myself am limited? I want you to think about that for tomorrow. Okay? Deal? Deal? Now, what does this mean to my life? On a social level. Because tomorrow we'll talk about the intellectual dimensions. But on a social level, what does that really mean to me? On a social level, it means that when I look at the people around me and I recognize that I myself primarily am deficient and flawed, then how can I look at everybody else and be busied with their flaws? Should I not be looking at my flaws first and trying to fix them by speaking with the unlimited or communicating with Him somehow to see what He wants of me? Me, first and foremost, right? I look outside and I say, oh, look at his hat. Oh, look at his hair. Oh, look at his pants. Oh, look at her hijab. Oh, look at her dress. Oh, I should be looking at myself. That's what I need to do. I need to look at myself and really reflect. If I'm so deficient, how do I know that that person hasn't reached a higher state of perfection? How do I know? How do I know that that person doesn't have less flaws than me? Oh, because I've seen this person do so and so. The brothers are like, because the brothers gossip, right? The brothers are like, hey, Hassanin, did you hear about what happened last night? See that guy? You see what he did? Right? See Yasser? You see what he said yesterday? Man, can you believe he asked that question? Next time he comes and asks a question, okay, we'll gang up on him, all right? You and me. You and me. Give me a dab. Nothing personal, yes. We're not going to pick on him. But see, we do that, right? So what happens is when a person asks a question, what do? We do all these sounds. We make these faces. As if we knew the answer. Oh, of course. Right? This person was brave enough to ask. Imam Ali salamullah alayhi, he says that he who asks a question receives the reward of asking that question, receives the reward of the answer, and receives the reward of every person who hears that answer and benefits from it. Isn't that amazing? Unlimited effects. Unlimited effects. As long as that good information is being propagated, then what happens? You receive rewards. And that's probably one of the reasons why one of the greatest positions that Allah and His Prophet tell us is the greatest position, other than being the creator and other than being a prophet and an imam, so and so, is to be a parent. Especially a mother, and then a mother, and then a mother, and then the father. This is what the Prophet says. Person goes to the Prophet, he says, advise me, O Prophet of Allah. He says, your mother, your mother, your mother, then your father. Another narration, the Prophet says, paradise is under the feet of mothers. The mother, the mother, the mother. You see? Even though this human being is limited, this woman has the ability to give an unlimited almost amount of what? Rahmah and love and care. And the father, he needs to be there. And if he's not there, then the mother has to do what? Has to fill in that gap. She becomes the mother, the friend, the father, the aunt. She teaches us, this mother, she teaches us what? She teaches us kindness. She teaches us how to love, right? She teaches us how to be clean and how to clean our rooms and clean our lives. Clean our lives. Because when a father comes like, why are you so messy? Why can't you be more like me? Don't you see how I fold my clothes every day? Stop slouching. Stop making sounds when you eat. When I tell you to get me something from the fridge, I want you to run. What? You want me to tell you what I want? You're supposed to know what I want. You're my son. Do you know who I am? Are you not proud of who you are? But see, our fathers teach us what? They teach us discipline. I don't want to rag on the dads. They teach us discipline. They do. They teach men how to be men. And they teach the daughters what's a good man. Why? Because Imam Ali salamullah alayhi, you know what he says? A supreme intellect. That's why I'm using him right now. I still haven't proven his imamah. I'll get to it. Okay. What does he say? He speaks about the importance of family. He speaks about the importance of family. What does he say about the importance of family? He speaks about how Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam raised them. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala. And I want you to notice something. If you know the story of Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullah alayhi. Ali ibn Abi Talib was raised by whom? By his cousin. See the importance of family? Why did his grandfather choose for Prophet Muhammad to be raised by his uncle? And why did his uncle choose for Prophet Muhammad to raise his son? Imam Ali says this about women. He says, Jihadul mar'a husnut taba'ul. He says that the struggle of a woman is to find the right husband, the correct husband, the best husband. Why? Why? Do you know why? Because they're the best example, not only for the sons, but for the daughters too, of what a good man should be. Brothers, you go out, you want to get married. Okay? The Prophet says, he warns from something called khadra ad-duman. He says, beware that you marry this type of woman, khadra ad-duman. He was asked, what is khadra ad-duman? He said, a beautiful woman that comes from a terrible family and a terrible background. That means what? Jihad al-rajul also tends to be hazn al-taba'al, finding the right woman. So don't be cheated by the beautiful hair and the beautiful eyes, right? And the long slinky figure. I'm talking to the sisters. If you see a man like that, don't be fooled. Okay? You should be looking for someone who has a great intellect. Because we've proven that, see how we're looking at the value now? Should be looking at someone who has a great intellect. An intellect. Because that person will sit with your children and teach them the right information, because that is their right upon him. The right of the son and the daughter. I just got a little too excited. And the daughter. The right of the son and the daughter, or the child, on the father is what? Is that he names them well. Names them well. 2 is that he teaches them about the oneness of Allah. That he teaches them the correct theology, ideology. If he teaches them about the oneness of Allah properly, they themselves will believe in everything else by intellectual necessity. They'll get to it. That's the right of the children upon the father. And that is a right, Imam Sajjad Salamullah alayhi, he says, know that he is your origin, for without him, you would not be. And that everything that is good in you comes from him. And know that his right upon you, or her right upon you, is that you name them well. And that you teach them the oneness of Allah. And know, O child, that you will never be able to repay your father except with the help and aid and support of Allah. So if that's the case for the father, imagine the mother. Allah says, and you'll never be able to thank her. Then he says, except with the support of Allah. Ever. Subhanallah. He says, know that it was your mother that accepted cold so that you have warmth. Know that it was your mother that accepted thirst so that you are quenched. Know that it was your mother that accepted hunger so that you are fulfilled. And know that you will never be able to repay her except with the help of Allah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He allows us to reach a state of enlightenment such that we always use our intellects to reach the truth, so that we realize our deficiency. And through realizing our own deficiency, we can realize that we are not one to judge, that the unlimited, the infinite is the one who judges. Oh Allah, we ask you that you allow us to walk on the straight path of the intellect that brings us only to you and to no other. We ask you, O Allah, that you have mercy on the souls of our dearly departed. We ask you, O Allah, that you support every individual that is here in this hall, everybody that made this happen, everybody that took the time out of their day to come and learn about you and to reach you through the intellect that is most endeared to you. O Allah, we ask you that you allow us to repay you for the greatest of gifts, the intellect. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. According to Sayyid Sistani, is it true that breaking the law is haram? Yes. Is rapping about the Imams and Allah haram? No. Oh, look at that. I got everybody's attention. Shall I repeat the question? Is rapping about the Imams and Allah? I think it says haram. I think it says harm, but I believe that means haram. It's not haram to rap about Allah, His prophets, and the Imams. Now, am I adding the type of music that is played in the halls of entertainment? If you know what I mean. Right? Are these the beats of the people that play the haram music? If you know what I mean. You know. Do I have people holding stuff up and like holding a lighter up and doing all this stuff, right? Okay. That's unacceptable. Okay. But there's an art form right now called spoken word. And that's basically what it is. It's poetry. It's poetry about Ahlul Bayt. Okay? Poetry about Ahlul Bayt. What is rap? Rap is poetry. Okay? When we hear na'i for majalis, we hear the lamentations. It's a nice long word for na'i. Okay? What is that? That's poetry. That's what it is. Very famous poetry, beautiful poetry. There's nothing more beautiful and eloquent than the Arabic language, honestly. Okay? Especially if you use that Arabic language to describe your love and your respect for Ahlul Bayt and your appreciation towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing more eloquent and more beautiful. Now, I don't live today in the Arab world, and my first language is not Arabic. So why are you forcing me to adhere to the Arabic poetry? What if I take the Arabic poetry and translate it? Is that not English poetry now? Am I right? How am I going to get my parents to understand this? Because they keep telling me rap is haram. Rap is haram, yes. But rapping about Ahlul Bayt is not haram if you mean writing poetry about Ahlul Bayt and saying it. Okay? As long as I'm not doing it, in a format that's the same as those in the industry. In like 20 quotes, right? The industry, right? Okay? You have to be mindful, and you know, don't tell me you don't know, I know, and you know, okay? And if you don't know, then I don't know where you've been living, okay? It's all over, whether it's Lady Gaga or Lady Mama or Lady Baba, okay? Am I right? You know those people too? They're all over TV. So, you know, I think another question also arises from this, and I don't know if it's here, but I think it's important to talk about. And that's the issue of music. You know, what is music? What does Ayatollah Sistani say about music? Okay. Ayatollah Sistani, he says, you know, he basically says, look, I'm going to leave this to you and your social norms. You know your social norms, because you know what might be musical in the Middle East might not be musical here. Okay? It might not be. So they might not recognize it as being music. But if I'm from back there, I'll recognize it as being music. Why? Because I'm familiar with the social norms. I'm familiar with with the with the arts from that part of the world. Okay. So what do I need to do then? I need to before I explain to my parents what it is that I'm listening to, okay, I need to first of all explain it to myself. Okay? How? By saying, well, why am I listening to this? Because I need to fill the time. Okay. How do I fill the time? With something positive or something negative? Right? If it's negative words like explicit, and I'm not talking about the group. You know that little label, right, on the CD? See, nobody says yes, everybody does this. Yeah, I know, man. Okay, so if you see that internally, imagine as you're questioning yourself, you're like, well, is this negative or is it positive? If it's negative, I don't care what kind of negative it is. Okay? If it's like this hardcore goth, okay, or it's this headbanger heavy metal, okay, or if it's this whole R&B stuff, stuff, okay, and all this lovey-dovey stuff, right? Or it's this hardcore rap, wal-'ayadhu billah, oh my goodness, okay? I know what's positive and what's negative. First and foremost, I know through the intellect that I should only associate myself with the positive, right? Because negative is deficiency, correct? Negative is flawed. Why would I want to associate myself with something flawed? I just said that with a New York accent. Let me try that again. I did, didn't I? Why would I want to associate myself with something flawed? Why? That doesn't make any sense. Because if I do, that means I want to be flawed. Who wants to be flawed? Only someone with low self-esteem. Okay? Don't look at me that way. You know. And I know. I was there. Been there, done that, seen it. Okay? I know. Right? I know we're driving around, okay, and there's this constant fight. Put on this radio station. No, play this MP3. No, that's haram. What's wrong with you? What are you, a Maulana? Come on, man, relax, chillax. No, we have to be honest with ourselves first. We're not going to look at the flaws of others. We're going to look at our flaws. What creates flaws? Negativity, right? In the human body, if you exercise a lot, okay, more than your body can handle, what happens? What's produced? Something called free radicals. What are free radicals? They're negative. They're all negative. And what do you need to do to replenish that? You have to take in positive fluids, positive sorts of food, okay? That will do what? Remove the negatives, turn them to positives. Isn't that interesting? That's our own human body. It's our own human body. And so it would only make sense that ourselves, our souls, why would I want to keep inserting negativity, negative music? Oh, I'm sad, I don't know, this group broke up, the Backstreet Boys. I know they're not here anymore, but Eminem is not singing in concert anymore, Who cares? What does Eminem think, rap about? Raps about the political situation, brother. This world is deficient, and I need to rap about its deficiency. Okay, good. You want to get the truth out? That's fine. But do it in a manner that's respectable. Well, I can't get anybody to listen to me. How am I going to land a record? If that's what you want to do, start your own label. Okay? When I went out in my profession, I could have worked for a lot of ad agencies, big ad agencies. Okay? I didn't. You know why? Because I was afraid that they would ask me to market La Samahallah, an alcoholic beverage. La Samahallah, something else. Okay? I was really fearful of that. Now, I wasn't that religious at the time, but, I knew I had to pray, Okay? I knew that that's a lot of negativity. I knew that, it's important to eat halal. I knew that I am not supposed to drink alcohol. I knew that say no to drugs. It just made sense to me. Okay? I knew all of that. Okay? But when it came to this, I said, well, you know what? I mean, there's all this. I mean, how can I do this? How can I be able? And I went through a journey. Okay? I studied for 4 years in a school, and I determined, well, you know what? This isn't really me. It's not what I want to be. I graduated with that degree. And then you know what I did? I said, you know what? I think I know what I want to be now. Okay? I want to be this. I didn't look at what is my purpose in life. I tried to search for that purpose through the things that I did. Okay? And I was like this little ball in a ping pong machine. And what is it? What's it called? Pinball, not a ping pong. A pinball machine. Okay? Being hit around by my random thoughts of what could be good for me. Versus looking towards Allah, and I knew what it felt like, because when I sat on that prayer mat, okay, and all I did was just put my hands up and ask, I just felt good. Forget about whether or not whatever I asked for happened or not. It just felt good. And I knew that goodness was something that I wanted. Okay? But how can I have that goodness move me forward in my life? So I asked, I said, well, this feels good. Let me ask. If there's anything out there, save me. It was the same thing. And lo and behold, the unlimited, the infinite, put things in my path and ways for me to move towards the right path. And what did I do? What did I do? Took all those CDs. You know what I did? Okay. I threw them to the ground and I broke them, every single one. Every single one. Why? Those days we had CDs and MP3s. Days of the Napster fiascos. Okay? Because I didn't want to take it and put it in a CD player. I didn't want to do it. Sometimes you just have to break the bad habit. And I asked Allah to help me, and that's what happened. And yes, it was a struggle, weaning yourself off, but I tried to listen to positive things. So I listened to lectures and say, my intellect, I want my intellect to be better. I feel it inside of me. This information feels good. Let me move towards it. And slowly and surely, I started to move towards it that way. Slowly and surely, I started to move that way. Okay? And that transition wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Rather, it became much simpler, because you see, before, I'd forgotten about the unlimited. My parents told me about the unlimited, but I'd forgotten about the unlimited. Okay? I didn't realize the fact that He was unlimited. All I could see is my small little world, and now I want you to do an exercise. Index finger up. Now I want you to turn it towards you and point at yourself. Point, real hard, straight finger. Okay? Now what I want you to do is look at the tip of that finger. You see it? Hajjiyah. Go ahead, do it. Okay? Look at the tip of that finger. Are you looking at it? Okay. Look at it and now move it to the right. Move it to the left. Don't look at anything else. Just that fingertip. Do you see it? Do you see the stuff around you? Is it clear or blurry? What's the clearest thing you see? Fingertip. Now move your fingertip and look around. How much beauty do you see? What? There's so much beauty here. What do you see? You see so much. And you see with clarity. I see you and you and you and you. I see the world. I see the reality of the world with clarity. I no longer am worried and confused by this particular specific thing. Because what did I do? I moved it out of my way. I took a step back. Okay? So what do I do to change my habit? What do I do? First and foremost, I look deep within myself. And before I even do that, I make a dua. I say, "Oh, unlimited and infinite Allah." Allah. There is no better name for Him than Allah. There is no closer name to His reality than Allah. The unique, Ahad. La ilaha illa huwa. There is no God but He, Allah. You see? Allah, say it inside of you, say it. Are you saying it? Inside of you. I can't hear you. I shouldn't be hearing you. I said say it inside of you. Now say it out loud. Allah. Say it like you mean it. Allah. Now call to Him and say, Ya Allah. Ya Allah. Ya Allah. Say it. And He will give you power to break that habit, whatever it is, and to move towards the positive. When you call Allah, in this month, Prophet Muhammad says, Ala Muhammad wa ali. Prophet Muhammad says in this month, Allah says, Labbayka abdi. You know what that means? You know when we go to Hajj, anybody's parents gone to Hajj or anybody gone to Hajj? The pilgrimage, right? If you go to Hajj, what do you say? You say, Labbayk Allahumma labbayk, labbayk la sharika laka labbayk. What are you saying? You're saying, Oh Allah, I am coming to your service. I am at your beck and call. At your beck and call. At your beck and call. Oh Allah, you called upon me and here I am answering. At your beck and call. In this month, Allah says, my worshipper, I am at your beck and call. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So you think He won't help you break that habit? He will help you break that habit. Start with a dua. The next thing you do after the dua is actually quite simple. You say, well, tell me what you want of me. What do you want of me? Tell me. Tomorrow we'll talk about where we'll find that. Tell me what you want of me. And then after that, the Prophet in his speech for the month of Ramadan, he says, remember the hereafter. Think about the hereafter. He's saying, look, set a standard for yourself. If you think about the fact that you're limited, that's what he's telling you. He's saying, think about the fact you're limited. If you're limited, that means you have a beginning and you have a what? End. You can't control your beginning, neither can you control your end. Therefore, be mindful of the decision that you make, my worshipper, limited worshipper. Let it be based on that standard of what? The fact that you are limited. The fact that you are limited. Does that make sense? The fact that this world will come to an end. So think about it. Make the best decision. Because if you don't make the decision right now, and in a few minutes, your end comes, then guess what? Time's up. The buzzer went off. The ball gets stuck in the air. It doesn't go into the hoop. It doesn't even bounce off the rim. It's just there because the time ended, literally. You see? Once I do that, now I realize that I have a system, a strategy of first and foremost, I've realized Allah the Unlimited. I ask Him first and foremost, and He will show me the way because I will look into what He wants of me. And then I will remember in my decision making that every decision I make, whether right or left, is either going to take me towards good or bad. It doesn't matter if my father is this way, or my mother is this way, or my sister is this way, or my grandparents are this way. What matters is me and here and now. And does this decision move me towards the positive, towards what Allah wants of me? The unlimited. I'm sorry, I turned into a lecture. Okay, so wow, rapping did all that? Okay, very good. All right, mashallah, abundance of questions. So then when it comes to music, then ask Allah to help you. When it comes to an addiction, ask Allah to help you. See what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants of you, okay? By looking into His message, which we'll talk about tomorrow. And then what we really need to do, is really contemplate the decision we're making. Is it the right decision for us? Okay, in this limited time that we have. And then you'll surprise yourself. You will be able to break that habit. Because if you're limited, only the unlimited really can give you that power. How do we know that the Imams are infallible? We'll get there, stay tuned. To make sure you come to the next few lectures, I will cover that. What are the signs of Imam al-Mahdi? We will also get to that. I won't answer it now, then you won't come. Okay. Can you listen to music while fasting? Will it break your fast? Well, listening to music will not break your fast. However, we're moving towards the positive, right? Did we not say we're going to move towards the positive? So if you listen to anything, listen to something positive. Listen to something positive, okay? Now you say, well, I can't go hardcore, cold turkey, right? Okay. I can't even go cold the judge. It's tough, yes, but that prescription I gave you, okay, it's a divine prescription. Use it, okay, and monitor yourself. Try. So I say replace it with something else. If it's negative, replace it with something positive, okay? Replace it with something positive. Do you have something positive you could listen to? But I don't understand Quran. Okay, well, you know what? And Quran is the best rap you'll ever hear. No, I'm serious. What is rap? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will speak about how Allah brought down the rap onto the people of the area. Okay? And He told them, I can rap better than any of you. Okay? Listen to my rap. Listen to what I have to say. Okay? There's no better rap. And it's translated in English. It might sound funny when the guy says, "Lo unto you," you know. But you know, there are other ones that aren't like that you can listen to too. And you can find it all on the internet. Well, Shaykhna, this is way too much. Well, this is what I'll tell you, okay? I'll say, introduce a little bit of that in your life. Introduce a little bit of it, okay? And change the negative music to a positive music. No swearing, no cussing, no hardcore beats, no bad words, no, you know. Don't tell me there isn't anybody that's like that, whether it's rap or R&B or hard rock or goth or whatever else, okay? There's always an alternative, okay? Even if it's listening to musicals. And when I say musicals, I mean instrumentals. I'm not talking about Cats or like, you know, those other theatrical pieces, okay? So will it break your fast? No. Okay, let me put this aside and I'll answer in a minute. Is it okay to wear a ring on your thumb pointer and middle finger? It is makruh, abhorred, not good. 9, as they say in German. No. Okay. Why? Because it was known that the people of Lut and the people of Thamud and other disbelievers, that's actually where they wore their rings. So the sign of a mu'min, of a believer, is that they wear on the right hand with this on this finger, or the smaller one, not the thumb, not the index finger, and not the middle finger. That's why, if you've heard your parents say that, it's based on narrations from the Prophet. Off topic. Okay, let me put this aside. Actually, most of these questions are in topic. I don't know. Will you come back to Washington next year? Is that an invitation? Inshallah. There's a saying, a proverb in Arabic. ما يرد الكريم إلا البخيل. So if a gracious person invites you, then you know you'd be greedy not to answer. Do you have to fast? Do you have to fast while you are pregnant or breastfeeding? Okay, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding and you recognize that this will harm you or harm your baby or harm your milk production, and you feel that very strongly that if the child is not given its mother's milk, then this will cause it extreme harm, then it's okay for you not to fast. Okay. However, you do have to pay the fidya and make up that fast. What is the fidya? Fidya is 1 mud. What is 1 mud? 3/4 of a kilogram, or 1.7 pounds of any staple food. And I'm not talking about staples you buy at Office Depot, okay? I'm talking about rice, wheat, okay, dates, raisins, any sort of food. If those aren't available, any sort of food, as long as it's in that weight. If you are diabetic, excuse me, and you rely on taking several insulin shots a day, is it haram if you do not at least try and fast? It is not a fast nullifier to take an injection. So your fast will still be okay if you inject the insulin in you. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidina. Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay, so this is where we take a break and we have an introduction, inshallah. Sheikh Basil will take care of it. We have many questions, okay? So inshallah tomorrow we'll deal with the rest. Assalamu alaikum.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you. تقبل الله أعمالنا وأعمالكم. May Allah accept your fasting, your fast, prayers, deeds. I am so proud that I'm here to meet you, to say salam to you. I'm proud to see this gathering here under supervision of these two wonderful sheikhs we have in Najaf right now. They are studying, and alhamdulillah, finally I met you today here. And special thanks for Sheikh Aous Asfar, who spent time and who put a lot of things to offer some services to Shia communities in North America, and especially in this area. And thanks for this opportunity. I'm here just to say salam to you, meet with you, and I'd like to announce that to all of you, to everyone of mu'mineen, believers, followers of Ahlul Bayt, salamullah alayhim, believe that we are here for nothing, just to serve the community. Anything can serve Islam, anything can make some development and increase our iman, spirituality, education, knowledge. We will be there and we will support. There's no matter, no problem from which different background comes or which ethnicity. We are looking for the American Shia Muslim community. We feel that we are responsible to support and to help to get better iman, better spirituality, better knowledge, and work on serving the development of the Shia community in North America. And most important of this work related to the youth, new generation, male or female, brothers and sisters, everyone of the new generation in this country is responsible, and we need to support each other. No one can do or can do everything. We need to work together, collaboration, with supporting each other. Inshallah, we will make difference. We are here at your service, inshallah, with supporting and offering classes, workshops, different method of teaching from Sheikh Aous and from other colleagues, and especially from Sheikh Yasin, Sheikh Basil. Inshallah, we will see more and more efforts. And you too, brothers and sisters, we count on you. We need more scholars. We need more preachers, clergies, who can serve in this country and serve the madhab, the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt, salamullahi alayhim. Some people like me who immigrant who try to learn English to offer something, it is good. Maybe we can serve in some certain areas. But people like you, from who born here, who raised here, who they understand what's going on, understand how to deal, how to express, how to deliver the information, is so important. Imagine that in Seattle there's not any doctor, there's not any engineer. What will happen? Same thing on spirituality, on religious, on religious aspect. Same thing. If we have not enough scholar, qualified scholar, authorized scholar, we will have nothing. We will lose everything. We will lose our religion. We will lose our belief and our faith. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Sorry, I don't want to take your time more than that. And inshallah, we see this program day after day stronger and better. First day I heard some news, I was so happy. Then second, third day, mashallah, and today we see all these faces with this huge gathering. Inshallah, in future, with your support, with your efforts, and with our participation, inshallah, we'll have a central youth center in Seattle with your support all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.